Have you tried really hard to change your life? Have you been someone that spent lots and lots of money on motivational courses, classes, coaches, etc.? And no matter what happens, your life is just rinse, repeat, and nothing changes, nothing transforms. If this is you, then watch this video. So the very first step in this, all right, so that's a look at how we can shift this. That's a look at about 5 different things that you need to start to think about and do. The first one is to stop being on autopilot. What do I mean about autopilot? Well, autopilot is when you're not observing yourself. You're not being aware of your actions, what's happening, and you're not actually just making decisions. You're just rolling with the automatic nature of your life. This is what I've done every day for my life, and this is what I'm continuing to do. So the very first step in this is to get off autopilot. So go and grab a pen and a paper. Put a stop to this video right now. Get a pen and paper, because we're going to give you some things to do that can really help you change this. All right. So you've started this up again, or you're just continuing to watch. So let's go dive right in. The first step I want you to do is, I promise that I'm going to do everything I can to change my life, and I will not stop until I change it. Now, the most important part of this is, I will not stop until I change it. I now promise to do everything I can to change my life, and I will not stop until I have changed it, right? So that's the first step, is to make a really clear decision that's what you want to do. The second step is that you have to be aware that there's a little bit of pain within this to get a little bit of gain. And the pain is that you might be in the middle of something. So that, say you're having breakfast and you start thinking to yourself, oh, I shouldn't be eating that. I'm going to get fat and blah, blah, blah. And the one thing that you wanted to change in your life is your relationship with yourself. If that's a thing you want to change with yourself, then what you have to do is be aware of how you're talking to yourself. And in that moment, even though you might be rushing to work or whatever, and it's quite painful to stop yourself, you need to stop and you need to say, we're not speaking to myself. I'm not speaking to myself like that today. I'm just not going to do it. No, I'm just going to enjoy my breakfast and I'm going to have a really nice day. And I'm sorry that I spoke to you so harshly. So in order to get to that kind of clarity of change, what you have to be aware of is what you want to change. So I've got a list of questions that I have prepared. So I'm just going to put my glasses on and read out the first one. So the first one that I want you to do is to make the decision to change, which you have done. The next thing is, I want you to write down where you are now. What's happening in your life now and how you feel about what's going on in your life. So do that. The next thing is, I want you to write down where you want to be in your life. What are the things that you want changing? What are the things you want to be different in your life? And write a list of at least 10 things that you want to change, right? And then once you've got that list of 10 things, what I want you to do is prioritize them. What is the first thing that you want to change in your life? Now, those things are fantastic, right? Those decisions that you've made, things that you want to change in your life, they might be things like money, job, career, etc. So that list we're going to put aside. I'd maybe get an envelope, and I want you to put it in the envelope and say, to be opened in 3 months. Okay? Because they're the things that you can start to change in 3 months once you've done what I'm going to suggest first. Because in order for us to truly change our life, what we need to master is the awareness of ourselves. We need to be aware of what we're feeling, how we're feeling. We need to learn how to come from our head space into our heart space. We need to learn how to reset. Because if you don't know how to stop the automatic pilot of your brain, if you don't know why it's working the way it is, or how to shift it, then nothing's ever going to shift. And that's where we have to start. It's not about setting lofty goals of things that you've tried to change 5 million times and not been able to. It's about changing how you're sitting in yourself. Now, I bet you that a lot of you who are watching this have watched tons of manifesting videos. If you are one of those people, just like, this is for you. And if you're not one of those people, then I will give you a little bit of information about manifesting. But mostly manifesting is just the way in which creation works. That's my understanding. We as human beings, and the thing is that science now is catching up. So we had this thing called spirituality before because we were trying to explain the human experience and the experience of the otherness of what I've heard so many people refer to as the magic, which is like, knowing that someone's going to call before they call, or saying, oh, I just really wish I had a new car, and then winning one, or, oh, I don't have the money for blah, 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 and then finding the money, or whatever. Those little bits of magical things that happen in life, the more we see it, the more it happens, and the more that you get connected to yourself, the more this flows to you, because this is the way that life actually works, as we create it by how we sit in ourselves. Now, this has been misrepresented, I think, a lot of times, because people are like, oh, I've created this, oh, it's so bad, oh my God, oh, and they're just freaking out. Basically, all it is just a level of awareness of how you're feeling, and then how to change it if you are feeling negative. So let's start with what is the most important way to change your emotions. It is the simplest freaking technique, and I think that is why people talk about breath work, and also it's why I think that people don't actually talk about how powerful this is, because I think it would save you a lot of money if you really understood it. You wouldn't be asking people for so much help. So what it is that your breath, right? So when you breathe deeply, and we're talking about into the chest and into the heart, so down into the belly. But when you breathe deeply, what it actually does is it switches off your brain. Now, it also switches on what they know is your vagus nerve, which is the part of the body, like it's all throughout your body, the vagus nerve. It goes into all the major organs, etc. And I'm sure they don't know the extent of it really. But what it does is it helps the body rejuvenate. And also, when you are deep breathing, your brain starts to change chemically, and it starts to be able to problem solve, and it starts to be able to be more connected to consciousness. Now, consciousness is something that humanity is starting to wake up to. Science is starting to understand, but a lot of the papers and a lot of the studies that have been posted, they're going to take about 20 years to come to mainstream, because when something as radical as consciousness, and that this consciousness is proven, then it actually takes a long time for there to be a shift in the awareness of this happens. So when I was tested when I was 30 for my reading and writing disability, I was told that my brain was fixed, that I would not be able to fully change the way my brain was working, that I would not be able to read or write better than an 8-year-old for the rest of my life. Well, that's wrong. But I was told that that's what it was. And at the time, that was the general gist in science. But there was already studies out there saying that our brain could be mendable. It was something that would change and would rewire, but it was not mainstream enough for the people that were doing my testing to understand it. Similarly is things like epigenetics now. So we know that it's not just genes that create things like cancer. It's genes plus the same environment. So you have to have the right environment to get this gene to create the cancer. So whatever your ancestors were doing that continually created the cancer. So might have the cancer gene, but if you don't do the same thing that your relatives don't do, you're not going to create cancer, because that's what's created it. It's actually the environment. The cancer needs to grow in the right environment. So it's environment plus the gene that actually creates the thing. And that is still not mainstream. People are still having tests to see whether they've got the cancer gene and then getting their breasts removed, for instance. Like, oh my God, like this stuff is just does my head in. But I know this is how it works, is it's going to take us a while to get to this. There's a lot of us that are starting to wake up to consciousness before it's in mainstream, and it's becoming more and more mainstream. But basically, consciousness is, you know how when you are, for those of you, I mean, most of you would have known about hypnotization or just really deep relaxation and that sort of stuff. And when you go into that, it literally changes your brain waves. When it changes your brain waves, you go into different states of awareness. They have measured Buddhist monks. When Buddhist monks go into really deep meditation states, what occurs is they're able to get into this place that actually transforms their brain. They can get to a place where they can stop their organs, they can stop their body from like their temperature from being cold. They can make it warm. They can do all these amazing things from the level of awareness they have. And they've done studies and tested what happens in their brains. And Joe Dispenza, with all of the people that he's doing his work with, he is studying them all and can tell us that meditation is transforming their brains. And as their brains transform, they are getting miraculous healings. We are at a place, an amazing place in time, in our like just in terms of humanity, where we really are starting to have the tools to transform our lives beyond measure, beyond what we know. And so therefore today I invite you to come to just the breath. Breathe deeply, basically. Breathe deeply. So take a deep breath in and out of your body and do it 3 times. And as you breathe deeply and then breathe out and then breathe in and then breathe out and breathe in. Now you might see that you have a slightly different state of awareness. Now let's try another sequence of breath. This time, I want you to be aware of how you're sitting. So take awareness right now to see how you're sitting in yourself, how you feel. How does your body feel? So close your eyes. Look at how your body feels. Open your eyes. Have a look around the room. Okay, now close your eyes. Be aware of your body and just become more comfortable. Just settle into yourself a little bit, even if you have to rock around. And then take a deep conscious breath into the belly. Hold for a minute and then let it out. And as you let it out, go, and relax the whole body and just really let out all the breath. And then another breath in. And feel the energy rushing into your body as you breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. Hold for a minute. And then let the breath out with awareness, releasing, relaxing, releasing, relaxing, releasing, relaxing. And then last breath in with the energy. Breathe in deeply, deeply, right into the base of your spine. And then hold for a second. And then breathe out, release, 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 release. Just feel that relaxation. And then just let your breath return to normal. Just keep your eyes shut for a little moment and just feel the awareness, the peace, tranquility of that moment. And then open your eyes. And if you have followed me you will now be feeling very differently. So my challenge to you is 3 conscious breaths 3 times a day. Set an alarm in your phone. It takes less than a few minutes. 3 conscious breaths 3 times a day. Do it for 7 days. And do it in the awareness of breathing in the energy and then breathe out with the relaxation. And make sure you hold in the moment, just in the middle there. And what that does is switch on your vagus nerve, but it also calms the system down, calms your body down. Now, what will occur from this is that if you do this regularly enough and you actually do it 3 times a day, your body will start to store the memory of having that peace, because you become very peaceful when you breathe like this. And you breathe deeply, you breathe calmly, you can feel the energy within yourself, right? And when that happens, when you have this point of calmness, then what happens is you will need 1 deep breath. After 7 days of doing this, just 1 deep breath will reset you pretty quickly. And if you do 3 just even short little deep breaths anywhere, your body will remember, this is when I feel peaceful. This is when I feel calm. This is when I feel better. And what occurs is that your body will start to allow you to have more calm. And so when you are in the moment, like if you are stressed about something, you're fighting with somebody, what your job is to remember to breathe. So the only thing you have to do right now is make the decision that you are going to make the breath the only thing that you change for the next 7 days. Now, changing your life, the best way to do it is to do it in one little agreed thing at a time. If you do it in one little thing at a time, particularly with this kind of power, so the breath is a very powerful thing, then what happens is it's not overwhelming. We're not doing everything all at once. I'm asking you to take 6 minutes a day to change your life. And what happens when you take this journey and you start to become aware of your breath, it starts to change the way that you are able to react to the world. When you take this challenge and you do this for 7 days, you will find that when you have a deep breath, it supports your body and stops your mind for a moment, that then stops the automatic pilot. So this is when we can start to really change your life. In 7 days' time, that's when you'll be ready for the next action, the next thing to change your life. And I'm going to do a series of videos on different things that you can do to change different aspects of your life. This is the first one you need. Change your breath. Change your breath. Seriously. Breathe into you, right into here. You've got to breathe into here. Now, this might seem too simple, but it's profoundly powerful. And I've had so many clients, thousands of clients, just be amazed at this. I have a 3 breath meditation that I send my clients, and so many of them lose it, and then they text me like, oh, I need that meditation, because it helps them so much. In fact, one of my best friends, who used to be one of my clients, he finds that if he doesn't do that meditation on a daily basis, he actually finds his days get worse. And then sometimes I'll see him I'm like, what are you doing, mate? He's like, I'm just resetting. I'm going to do the meditation, because it is really powerful. And can you imagine something so simple that can really be a game changer? Have a go. Let me know in the comments how you go. And also, if you are interested in getting the meditation sent to you, let me know below, put that in the comments, and we can send you the link to get the meditation sent to you. It's only 6 minutes long. The meditation itself is 3 minutes. It's got 3 minutes of music. The reason why I did it that way is because I had so many clients say, oh, 3 minutes wasn't enough. So I put an extra 3 minutes of just music afterwards so they could stay in the peaceful place. All right, well, I'm Katriana. I will be talking to you again soon. Thanks for watching my video. Bye.